Good day, everyone. I am Josber D. Temporal, and I will be sharing with you the Matatag Science Curriculum Shaping Paper. Allow me to start with the presentation outline. We'll start off with the curriculum review results and actions taken. Then we will proceed right away with the features of the Matatag Science Curriculum, and lastly, the science curriculum. Some of the reported findings from the curriculum review is that the curriculum is congested. The learning competencies are broadly stated in that there is an unequal distribution of learning competencies across different domains and grade levels. In the Matatag Science curriculum, the learning competencies are explicitly stated so that the implementers won't have a difficult time in unpacking these competencies. Some topics are moved to another grade level to address congestion. And of course, a comparable number of learning competencies is established across grade levels and of course, domain. In the current curriculum, most of the learning competencies are classified under communicate, understanding of science concepts, and analyze information and advance scientific arguments. In the Matatag curriculum, representation of the five cognitive demands is ensured across grade levels. In the current curriculum, there are topics that are arranged inconsistently. We ensure that the topics follow a developmental and logical progression in the Matatag curriculum. Let me explain the progression of competencies in force, motion, and energy from grades 3 to 6. In grade 3, learners learn how to measure the position of the objects. And in the next level, which is grade 4, learners learn how to accurately measure the distance traveled by objects using simple tools. Then in grade 5, learners learn that the force, such as gravity, can affect the movement of objects. And finally, in grade 6, learners carry out a simple investigation on how levers affect force. The progression starts from knowing about position of objects, then to motion, and then to the effect of force in the movement of objects. Repeated competencies are also notable in the current curriculum, such as describe the parts of the reproductive system in their functions. This appears in grades 5 and 10 of the current curriculum, and in the Matatag curriculum, it is ensured that the competencies are explicitly stated to avoid possible repetition of content. The number of performance standards in the current curriculum varies, and all standards are specified in the quarter are expected to be done by the learners. The performance standards in the current curriculum are stated as activities or tasks that a learner must do. In the Matatag Science curriculum, these activities are called performance tasks, and we ensure that one of the unique features of the science curriculum is having a suggested performance task. In the current curriculum, the prerequisites of science from other learning areas are evident. Such is maintained in the Matatag curriculum. The science curriculum puts premium on the government trusts and social issues. These trusts and issues, together with the 21st century skills and values, are ensured to be manifested in the Matatag curriculum because we want to develop learners who are skills ready and are aware of their role in the society. Now let's look at the Matatag Science curriculum. The intention of the curriculum is to engage learners in science and incorporate varied hands-on and minds-on activities to develop learners' interests and encourage them to be active learners. The science curriculum has been developed with a view that science is essential for Filipino learners in an increasingly scientific, technological, and challenging world. The science curriculum is crafted and designed to be learner-centered and inquiry-based, emphasizing the use of evidence in constructing explanations. It provides opportunities for collaboration, innovation, and creativity among our learners. The curriculum explicitly presents learning competencies that require active learner participation and collaboration. Therefore, teachers should deliberately look for opportunities to apply inquiry learning in the delivery of the lesson, as this models the nature and practice of science in an authentic scientific investigation. One of the new features of the Matatag Science curriculum is the science framework. The overall goal of the grades 3 to 10 science curriculum is the achievement of scientific, environmental, and technology and engineering literacy of all our learners. On achieving the outcomes of the curriculum, learners will be ready to actively participate in local, national, and global contexts and make meaningful contributions to a dynamic, culturally diverse, and expanding world. By successfully completing the science curriculum, Filipino learners will demonstrate capabilities as put forth in the Basic Education Development Plan or the BEDP 2030. And to achieve such curricular goal, we must develop our learners to be critical and creative problem solvers, responsible stewards of nature, innovative and inventive thinkers, informed decision makers, and effective communicators. There, the ones with the check. The framework actually depicts a balanced integration of three interrelated content strands, namely performing scientific inquiry skills, understanding and applying scientific knowledge, and developing and demonstrating scientific attitudes and values. These content strands support Filipino learners to engage with the science-related issues and with the ideas of science as a reflective citizen. It supports them to explain phenomena scientifically, evaluate the design's scientific inquiry, and interpret this data and evidence. It also encourages and supports them to apply scientific, environmental, technological, and engineering knowledge, practices, and principles in the context of real life situations. The learning of the content strands is principally facilitated using the inquiry approach, supported by other approaches that challenge learners according to their prior learning and needs. Other approaches that enhance inquiry learning have also contributed to the attainment of the science curriculum goal, which include transdisciplinary approach, which involves collaboration and integration of knowledge and methods from multiple scientific disciplines to gain a more comprehensive understanding of particular issue or topic. This involves breaking down of silos between different disciplines to foster collaboration. While the science technology society approach recognizes that science and technology are not isolated from the rest of society, but deeply intertwined with cultural, ethical, economic, and political factors. This approach aims to foster a deeper understanding of how science and technology impact society and how societal values, beliefs, and choices influence scientific and technological developments. While contextual learning as an educational approach emphasizes the importance of learning within a specific context or setting, it recognizes that learning is most effective when students are allowed to connect what they are learning to real life experiences and applications. Meanwhile, problem based learning focuses on active learning and critical thinking by presenting students with real world problems or scenarios to solve. And the application led approach focuses on real world applications and practical experiences. This approach encourages students to actively apply what they have learned in classroom to real world scenarios. For the different approaches, the delivery of the lesson, we have the constructivist theory of learning, which suggests that learners learn by expanding their knowledge based on their prior knowledge. One of the primary goals of constructivism is for learners to learn how to learn. Therefore, learners learn best when they can construct a personal understanding based on experiencing things and reflecting on those experiences. Next is the social cognition learning or social cognition learning model. This suggests that most human behavior is learned observationally through modeling. Thus, learners can learn from observing others either as a live model or a symbolic model or verbal instructional model. We also have the brain-based learning theory. It puts premium on recent research about how the brain works and how learners learn differently as they age, grow, and mature cognitively, emotionally, and socially. The last is the Vygotsky's zone of proximal development or ZPD, which refers to the difference between what a learner can do without help. The science curriculum explicitly adopts the big ideas of Harlan et al. In 2015 and cross-cutting concepts of science and integrates government priorities identified as appropriate to the science learning area. A big idea is a statement of an idea that is central to learning, one that links numerous understandings into a coherent whole. The connection of big ideas to many other ideas allows the learner to see the interrelatedness of concepts, skills, and facts, thus promoting memory and enhancing transfer of learning. The first big idea focuses on matter, which states that all matter in the universe is made up of very small particles. Whereas the numbers 2 to 4 is all about the concepts in physics, which states objects can affect other objects at a distance. Number 3, changing the movement of an object requires a net force to be acting on it. Number 4, the total amount of energy in the universe is always the same but can be transferred from one energy store to another during an event. While the 5 and 6 focuses on the Earth and solar system and the universe, which states number 5, the composition of the Earth and its atmosphere and the processes occurring within them shape the Earth's surface and its climate. Our solar system is a very small part of one of billions of galaxies in the universe. And here are the 7 to 10, which tackles the concepts in the life science. Number 7, organisms are organized on a cellular basis and have a finite lifespan. Number 8, organisms require a supply of energy and materials for which they often depend on or compete with other organisms. Number 9, genetic information is passed down from one generation of organisms to another. Number 10, the diversity of organisms, living and extinct, is the result of evolution. In this slide, these four statements of big ideas focuses on scientific skills, attitudes, and applications of science. Number 11, science is about finding the cause or cause of phenomena in the natural world. Number 12, scientific explanations, theories, and models are those that best fit the evidence available at a particular time. Number 13, the knowledge produced by science is used in engineering and technologies to create products to serve human ends. Number 14, applications of science often have ethical, social, economic, and political implications. Cross-cutting concepts in science are fundamental ideas or principles that unify multiple domains. They help learners make connections between different branches of science and develop a more comprehensive understanding of natural phenomena. These cross-cutting concepts in the science curriculum are adopted from the Next Generation Science Standards or the NGSS in the United States. These are the structure and function, stability and change, systems and system models, energy and matter, flow cycles and conservation, scale, proportion and measurement, patterns, cause and effect, and the nature and practices of science. Here is an example of how we can see the structure and function which is under the cross-cutting concepts as used in the science curriculum. The way an object is shaped or structured determines many of its properties and functions. Learners should learn to analyze the relationships between the structures of objects or system and their functions. Here's an example from grade 5 and grade 8. We can see here how structure and function is evident in grade 5 and in grade 8 in life science and in matter. Another example for systems and system models. A system is an organized group of related objects or components. Models can be used for understanding and predicting behavior of systems. So in grade 5, we have a sample learning competency about the skill. And in grade 8, we have another sample learning competencies which uses flowcharts, models, diagrams, and simulations to explain how body systems work together. Stability and change as a cross-cutting concept manifests that there are conditions that affect stability and factors that control rates of change are critical elements to consider and understand. Here's an example from grade 5 living things and grade 8 force, motion, and energy, which deals about the stability and change. Now, a new feature of the Matatag Science curriculum is the adoption of the engineering design process, or the EDP. The framework espouses the interplay of science, mathematics, and the TLE, or the technology and livelihood education, to involve learners in an interdisciplinary task to enhance their competencies and take on the challenges of the 21st century. The engineering design process is a systematic and structured approach to solving engineering problems. It is anchored on the design thinking process, which is a human centered approach to problem solving and innovation that focuses on understanding and addressing the needs of users. This process is iterative, meaning learners may need to revisit previous stages multiple times as they refine their solutions and gain a deeper understanding of the problem. Collaboration and willingness to embrace ambiguity and failure are key principles in this process. The goal of the emphasize stage is to understand the problem and user's perspective. Learners as design thinkers engage with the people who are experiencing the problem to gain empathy for their needs, challenges, and motivations. The stage often involves conducting interviews, surveys, and observations to gather insights. After gaining empathy, the next step is to define the problem or the problem statement. As design thinkers, learners must learn to synthesize the information gathered during the empathize stage to identify the core problem that they are addressing. During these generate ideas or ideation phase, the focus is on generating a wide range of creative ideas and potential solutions to the defined problem. Design thinkers encourage brainstorming or collaboration and creative thinking. The emphasis should be on quantity and diversity of ideas rather than evaluation at this stage. Prototyping, or the create stage, involves creating tangible representations of the potential solutions. These prototypes can take various forms, such as sketches and physical models. The goal in this phase is to quickly and inexpensively test ideas to gather feedback and iterate them in the process. And in the testing or the evaluate phase, prototypes are shared with users or stakeholders to gather feedback and insights. This step also helps design thinkers evaluate the feasibility and effectiveness of their solutions. Testing often leads to iterations and refinements of the prototypes, and the process may cycle back to earlier stages such as the ideation phase or the create phase as necessary. And I guess that's it. We all share the same vision of championing science education and making a difference in the lives of our learners as productive members of the society. This vision can be realized if this science curriculum will be translated into a living document that will transcend the next generation. Thank you.